Osama is a movie that, after watching it, it leaves an impression on your soul. You think about it for days and days. It is a very raw movie, it is very heartbreaking, and it is painfully real. Osama was directed by Siddiq Bamak. It was the first movie made in Afghanistan after the fall of the Taliban. The movie was made in 2003, so obviously things have changed in recent times. So here's the general plot of the movie. The movie was set in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Imagine being a 12-year-old girl in a world where women aren't allowed to walk, go outside without a male guardian, or basically exist with any freedom. That's the reality of our protagonist, an unnamed young girl, her mother and her grandmother, whose male relatives have been killed in battle during the Soviet invasion and subsequent wars. Her mother lost her hospital job when the Taliban cut off funding to the hospital that she was working at, and she couldn't find any other work. Desperate to keep the family alive before hunger kills them, the mother and her grandmother disguised the main character, that's the 12-year-old girl, as a boy by cutting her hair and dressing her in male clothes. The only other people who knew she was a girl disguised as a boy was a milk vendor where she was working at, and a local boy named Espandi. It was Espandi who named the girl Osama and became her only friend. The disguise was so that she could walk in order to help her mother and grandmother survive. But this act was only a temporary shield because she was sent to a boys' madrasa, which is a religious and military training school for boys. But here's the problem, she's not a boy. And in a society that punishes women for the smallest things, getting caught isn't just dangerous, it is life or death. She struggles to maintain her identity. As suspicion arises, the film follows her struggle to keep up the lie, the fear of being found out, and the heartbreak of knowing she has no way out. And trust me, the tension in this film is unreal. Several of the boys picked on her. Espandi was able to protect her initially, but her secret is discovered when she begins to menstruate, and what follows is heartbreaking. Osama is arrested and put on trial along with two other people. The others are condemned to death and killed, but Osama's life was spared. Instead of death, she was given up in marriage to a very old man. He already had 3 wives who hated him and said he destroyed their lives. The wives had pity on Osama, but there was nothing they could do. The husband showed her the padlocks he uses on his wife's rooms, reserving the largest for her. The movie ends with the new husband leading Osama to a room, and the camera pans to show him conducting an ablution in an outdoor bath, which the boys were earlier taught to conduct after ejaculation. This isn't the kind of movie you watch for fun or you watch then move on from. It's the kind of movie that lingers on you, it's an experience. It forces you to step into a world where freedom doesn't exist and where a young girl's only crime is being born a girl. It's the kind of film that makes you sit in silence after the credits roll, just thinking. From the opening scene, where women protest for their rights, only to be violently shot down, to the final moment, Osama doesn't just tell a story, it makes you feel it. The entire time, you feel this constant unease, like something terrible is just around the corner. It is a slow, quiet film, but that silence speaks volumes. And honestly, that is exactly what makes it so powerful. Instead of dramatic action, it feels like a real story that is unfolding. And that's because in many ways, these things are happening in real life, and they are still happening. Even though this film came out in 2003, it still feels relevant, especially considering the recent situation in Afghanistan and other Muslim countries, even in the north here in Nigeria. So let's talk about things I liked about the movie. There are a lot of things I liked about the movie. The girl who played Osama, she was immense, she was powerful in that role. She was very phenomenal. Apparently, she has never acted before she acted in this movie, but you wouldn't know that she has not acted before. Because without words, her eyes alone tell the entire story. You could feel her fear, her sadness, her desperation, her hopelessness. It is very heartbreaking. I like the atmosphere, the way the movie looks and feels is just perfect. The muted colors, the empty streets, the overwhelming silence, it just makes you feel trapped with her. There is no escape, and the cinematography makes sure you know that. I like the feel of authenticity. There's no big name actors, there's no special effects, there's no out there high-end Hollywood cinematography. It's just very raw, honest storytelling. And sometimes that's more powerful than any big budget Hollywood CGI kind of production. Talking about things I don't like, there's really nothing I can say I don't like about this movie. Everything about this movie works. Even the things that don't feel conventional still ends up working to make the movie better. To me, this movie is a wake-up call. This movie is not just about one girl's struggle. It's about an entire system that robs women of their basic rights. It's about fear, survival, and how oppression turns everyday life into a nightmare. And the worst part of this is that this is not just history. Women in Afghanistan as it fights for their basic freedoms today. Osama forces us to look at that reality and not turn away. If you ask me whether I would recommend it, I will say yes. Even though it's not an easy watch, it is very raw, it is very emotional, it is very painful, and it's very heartbreaking. But it makes you really feel something. It challenges your worldview and it sticks with you after it ends. So definitely I would recommend you to watch it. So that is what I feel about Osama. You know, thanks for watching and bye bye.